Hi Grace Kids, it is great to have you with us today. We have finished our series in Daniel, so we're moving on to something else now. A while ago we looked at a couple of Psalms and we're going to look at another one today. But before we get stuck in, I wondered if you could guess what job these people do. Okay, so the first person that I've got is this man. Can you guess what job he does? Sometimes he drives around in a truck like this or in a fire engine and he helps to put out fires. Shout out the answer if you think you know what it is. Well done if you said that he is a fireman. Okay. Now, what about this lady? I wonder if you can guess what job she does. Sometimes this lady writes on a board for her job. She also helps lots and lots of children to learn all about the world. What do you think her job could be? Yes, that's right. She is a teacher. Sorry, class, you've got to move over here. Okay, let's take a look. What about this man? Do you know what this man does as his job? Sometimes he drives around in a car with sirens and flashing lights. He protects us and he makes sure that people are keeping the law. Do you know what his job is? That's right, he is a policeman. Okay, what about this lady? Do you know what her job is? Can you see her little bag? Okay, this lady helps us if we've hurt ourselves. She tells people what's wrong with them and she helps to make them better. That's right, she is a doctor. Well done. Use the patients over here. Okay, let's see. What about this man? This is a bit trickier, isn't it? I'll have to help you a bit there, I think. Well, this man grows food. There we go. Some nice carrots and turnips in there. He also looks after animals. What do you think his job could be? That's right, he is a farmer. Brilliant. Let's see who else we've got. Okay. What about this man? Well, this man takes care of and helps to make better animals. We often take our pets to them if they get poorly. Look, there's a little dog, a little cat, and some rabbits. And this man would make them better if they were poorly. That's right, he is a vet. Pop in here. Sorry, animals, go over there. Okay, who else have we got? Right, what about these two? This man and this lady. What do you think their job is? They sometimes fly around in one of these. They sometimes go on a big boat and they help rescue people like this man who might have got in trouble in the sea. Oops, broken the lifeboat. What do you think their job is? That's right, they are coast guards. Well done. Okay, and then the last one, move them there, is this guy. What do you think this guy does for a job? He cares for and protects and looks after his sheep. That's right, he is a shepherd. Fantastic, well done. How many of these jobs involve helping or looking after people or animals? Yes, all of them. There are so many jobs where people help us and look after us and animals, aren't there? In today's Bible lesson, we're actually going to be hearing about one of those jobs. We're going to be hearing about a shepherd and how he looks after his sheep. It's in one of the Psalms. Psalms? Psalms is a bit of a funny word, isn't it? I wonder what it means. This is how it's written down. It's got a silent p at the beginning, hasn't it? We don't say the p, otherwise we'd say psalms, and that sounds a bit funny. So we just say psalms instead. The word psalms actually just means a song or a poem. So the book of Psalms in the Bible is actually just a book of songs or poems. There are 150 Psalms in the Bible, and a lot of them were written by King David. The Bible tells us that King David was a musician. He played a harp. We also know that before he was a king, King David was a shepherd and he looked after his family's sheep. We also know from the Bible that he was a warrior and God's friend too. King David wrote about all these experiences in his poems and his songs. And we're going to look at one of those today. We are going to look at Psalm 23, which is all about a shepherd and how he looks after his sheep. I wonder if you could listen carefully and see if you can find out who King David describes as a shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. He gives me everything I need. He lets me lie down in fields of green grass. He leads me beside quiet waters. He gives me new strength. For the good of his name, he leads me on paths that are right. Even if I walk through a very dark valley, I will not be afraid. You are with me. Your shepherd's rod and staff comfort me. You prepare a feast for me right in front of my enemies. You pour oil of blessing on my head. My cup runs over. I am sure that your goodness and love will be with me all the days of my life, and I will live in the house of the Lord forever. What a lovely song that is. I wonder if you were listening carefully and know the answer to the question I asked. Who did King David describe as a shepherd? Yes, that's right. He said that God was like a shepherd, didn't he? This psalm is a picture of God and his people. It says that we are like the sheep and God is like the shepherd. Do you remember our shepherd from earlier? Here he is, and here are his sheep. Well, I wanted us to think about what a shepherd is like and how he looks after his sheep. As we heard earlier, a shepherd's job is to take care of his sheep, doesn't he? He gives them everything that they need. He loves his sheep. They are really important to him, so he wants to give them the very best. What else does a shepherd do? What else do sheep need? Well, yes, that's right. Sheep would need food, wouldn't they? So the shepherd takes the sheep to green grassy fields where they can eat lots of lovely grass and they can run and jump about and play, can't they? Sheep also need water. So the shepherd would take the sheep to some lovely clean water where they could have a drink and they could have a little rest. Nowadays, in the UK where we live, farmers often herd sheep by using sheepdogs, don't they? They normally walk at the back and the sheepdogs come round the sides and they get the sheep together in a group and then they show them which way to go, don't they? But in Bible times, that's not how shepherds move their sheep about. In Bible times, shepherds would walk in the front, calling the sheep, and the sheep would know the voice of their particular shepherd and they would hear him call and then they would follow him. And because the shepherd wants what was best for the sheep, he would only lead them onto the safest and best paths. And they would follow him because they trust him to keep them safe. However, even if they did end up somewhere scary and dangerous, like the dark valley in the song, for example, the sheep knew that they didn't need to be afraid. They knew that the shepherd was able to protect them. He had his staff, which is his great big stick, and he also had his rod, which was actually like a big club. I don't have this shepherd's one with me, but it was in the song, wasn't it, in the story that we saw. And they meant that he could protect them from any wild animals or danger that might be lurking. So the sheep knew that he could protect them and keep them safe. This made them feel secure and happy. The shepherd watched over his sheep at all times. So at night time, when the sheep were often not in their pen or sat near him, he would watch over them and make sure that they were safe at night as well. He was always with them. In his song, King David said that God is like the shepherd and we are like the sheep. That means that God looks after us like the shepherd looks after a sheep. We are really, really important to God. He loves us and gives us absolutely everything we need. He is our provider. He leads us and guides us and protects us and comforts us and cares for us. He gives us rest. And like the sheep, we don't ever need to be afraid, as God is there with us, even in sad and scary places. He is watching over us, comforting us and protecting us. If we listen to his voice and follow him, he will lead us on the right paths and show us the best way to go, just like the shepherd shows his sheep. We can trust God in any situation because he is there with us always, doing the best for us, even in the dark valleys. In this psalm, King David also said that God was like a friend who'd invited guests into his home. I wonder if you can think what you or your grown-ups do when you have friends or guests round to your home. How do you greet them? Do you say hello? Do you offer to take their coats or offer them food or drink? If you've got friends round to play, perhaps you share your favourite toys with them. All of these things are great things to do to make people feel welcome in our homes, aren't they? Well, the guest in this psalm felt very special because his friend, the host, poured oil onto his head. And then he gave him more than enough to eat and drink. You might think, that pouring oil on someone's head is a very strange thing to do, because it's not something that we usually do these days, is it? But in Bible times, having oil poured on your head was a sign of blessing. By the host doing that, this guest would have been made to feel really special and really welcome. God does the same for us. He welcomes us and he blesses us. The psalm also said, "My cup runs over," which basically means that God gives us more than we need. Let me demonstrate. I've got my cup here, okay? The cup is basically like us. And here I have my water. The water is like God's blessing. If I pour the water, God's blessing, into the cup, us, then it starts to fill up, doesn't it? The more that I pour, the cup gets fuller and fuller until it runs over. The cup can't hold any more. That is the same as God's blessings for us. God gives us so much, he gives us so many blessings that it kind of runs over, pours out of us. His blessings just keep coming and coming. And it says in the song that they will be with us all the days of our life. In the last part of the psalm, King David said, "I will live in the house of the Lord forever." In the Bible, Jesus said that he was the good shepherd who laid down his life for his friends. When we trust in Jesus, we can enjoy friendship with God, just like King David did. We can enjoy that friendship now, and one day we too will be able to live with him forever. That is amazing, isn't it? So today we have learned that God leads us and guides us and comforts us and cares for us and protects us, and he provides for us and blesses us and gives us everything that we need and much, much more. And the good news is that he does this for everyone who trusts in Jesus and follows him. That really is good news, isn't it? Let's pray. Dear God, we thank you that you love us and that you take care of us. We thank you that you bless us and provide everything that we need. We thank you that you protect us and comfort us and show us the best way to go. Please help us, God, to trust in Jesus, to know his voice and to follow him, so that we can be your friends and so that one day we too can live in your house forever. Amen. Your grown-ups, so you can do those now. I hope you have a fantastic week. Take care. Bye.